hold it a little bit crooked, and it works on the Zoom. So we are up to chapter 88, and it's called You Have No Idea What You're Overlooking, The Illusion of Attention. So we'll get into it. The week is started. We all have goals and things that we need to achieve. Even if we just take a small little step, it is amazing. But starting the day with some reading can really get the juices flowing and help us start the day really well. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. I have managed to start the week really well, and I hope you did as well. Mladen is joining us on the Zoom. It is good to see him as well. Just going to change the view a little bit. Here we go. And I've decided on Zoom to go a bit Christmassy. There we go. Do that for a second. And thanks again to Mladen who assisted me with that one. Rich Dad Poor Dad is the book that we can see on the BIGO and is a little bit hard to get on screen. But you can see it on Zoom as well. It was there for a few seconds. I only have the Chinese version. While I am learning Chinese, there we go. That's the way to get it onto the screen. You probably may not speak Chinese, which is completely fine. So we're going to read an English book. And the one that I have is this one called The Art of Thinking Clearly. There we go. I have to hold it a little bit crooked, and it works on the Zoom. So we are up to chapter 88, and it's called You Have No Idea What You're Overlooking, The Illusion of Attention. So we'll get into it. The week is started. We all have goals and things that we need to achieve. Even if we just take a small little step, it is amazing. But starting the day with some reading can really get the juices flowing and help us start the day really well. So here we go, chapter 88. After heavy rains in the south of England, a river in a small village overflowed its banks. The police closed the fort, the shallow part of the river where vehicles crossed, and diverted traffic. The crossing stayed closed for 2 weeks, but each day at least one car drove past the warning sign and into the rushing water. The drivers were so focused on the car's navigation systems that they didn't notice what was right in front of them. The above observation is from cognitive psychologists Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris. At Harvard in the 1990s, they filmed 2 teams of students passing basketballs back and forth. One team wore black t-shirts, the other white. The short clip, The Monkey Business Illusion, is available on YouTube. Take a look before reading on. It's going to be a bit difficult for you. Anyhow, yes, I watched it, and we'll read on. In the videos, viewers are asked to count how many times the players in white t-shirts pass the ball. Both teams move in circles, weaving in and out, passing back and forth. Hopefully, most of you are watching this on the YouTube, on the Passive Cash Flow Club, and then you can watch it before you finish watching the rest of this. Suddenly, in the middle of the video, something bizarre happens. A student dressed as a gorilla walks into the center of the room, pounds his chest, and promptly disappears again. At the end, you're asked if you noticed anything unusual. Half the viewers shook their heads in astonishment. Gorilla? What gorilla? The monkey business test is considered one of the most famous experiments in psychology and demonstrates the so-called illusion of attention. We are confident that we notice everything that takes place in front of us, but in reality, we often see only what we are focusing on. In this case, the passes made by the team in white. Unexpected, unnoticed interruptions can be as large and conspicuous as a gorilla. The illusion of attention can be precarious. For example, when making a phone call while driving. Most of the time, doing so poses no problems. The call does not negatively influence the straightforward task of keeping the car in the middle of the lane and braking when a car in front does. But as soon as the unanticipated event takes place, such as a child running across the street, your attention is too stretched to react in time. Studies show that drivers' reactions are equally shown when using a cell phone as when under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Furthermore, it does not matter whether you hold the phone with one hand jammed between your shoulder and jaw or use a hands-free kit. Your responsiveness to unexpected events is still compromised. Another example actually from my cafe, which I found very fascinating. I had a bar at the back of the cafe. So it was a cafe with 2 different rooms. There was a door in between. And I had all of my staff on one side and the back. People knew that they could sit down. The people who came regularly would sit down and they'd wait for the waitress to come. But there was also a bar. And I never had somebody behind the bar because we had all of the cash registers and everything in the front section of the cafe. And I put this big A4 sign, and it said, "There is no service at this bar. Please come through to the main section through this door in front of you." And the number of times that I would walk in, and people would be standing there holding the sign, reading the sign, and then they'd ask me, "Is there any service at this bar? Why is there nobody here?" It boggled my brain every single time. Perhaps you know the expression, the elephant in the room. It refers to an obvious subject that nobody wants to discuss, a kind of taboo. In contrast, let us define what the gorilla in the room is, a topic that is of the utmost importance and urgency, and that we absolutely need to address, but nobody knows about it. Take the case of Swissair, a company that was so fixated on expansion that it overlooked its evaporating liquidity and went bankrupt in 2001. Or the mismanagement in the Eastern Bloc that led to the fall of the Berlin Wall, or the risks on banks books that up until 2007, nobody paid any attention to. Such gorillas stomp around right in front of us and we barely spot them. It's not the case that we miss every extraordinary event. The crux of the matter is that whatever we fail to notice remains unheeded. Therefore, we have no idea what we are overlooking. This is exactly why we are still clinging to the dangerous illusion that we perceive everything of importance. I'm going to quickly throw in as well something that I read about, which was really fascinating to me, and a way to get past this illusion. And I'm not sure, I don't know whether it discusses this at the end of this chapter, but this was a story of a gentleman called Mike Milken, and also, what's his name? His surname's Cunningham. Just need to see if I can remember. Keith Cunningham. There we go. Keith Cunningham. And both of them have this strategy of waking up in the morning and asking questions around the things that they're about to do for the day. So they have their thinking time. And this thinking time is used to eliminate these kinds of issues. So let's say that I am about to embark on another acquisition. Let's say that we're Swissair and we're about to embark on another acquisition. So I take this time early in the morning when nobody's going to disturb me, and I sit there and I think about what could go wrong. What do I need to pay attention to? What am I missing? And so I ask all of these different questions. And because it's early in the morning and our brain is fresh, we can come up with the answers to these. And it will lead us to other questions that can be helpful. And our subconscious mind helps us out with this. And so this thinking time is really invaluable to being able to overcome this inability for us to be able to see what we are overthinking. And when we are too focused on one thing, which is taking us away from dangers, such as when we're driving and talking on the phone, or when we are standing at a bar and reading a sign that tells us what to do, but we're not really paying attention to it because we're expecting something else. We're expecting there to be somebody, and we don't really want to be reading this. We're just holding it to make a show. So this is a really great way for you to be able to overcome this by taking time early in the morning when you wake up before everybody else, when you're not going to be disturbed. On the toilet is a great place. We don't get disturbed when we go to the toilet. To just sit and think about, what could I be missing? What is important here? What is my outcome? How can I best get that outcome? All of those different kinds of questions. Purge yourself of the illusion of attention every now and then. Confront all possible and seemingly impossible scenarios. What unexpected events might happen? What lurks beside and behind the burning issues? What is nobody addressing? Pay attention to silences as much as you respond to noises. Check the periphery, not just the center. Think the unthinkable. Something unusual can be huge. We may not see it. Being big and distinctive is not enough to be seen. The unusual and huge thing must be expected, otherwise known as well as black swans. There are lots of black swans everywhere that are going to seem unbelievable at first. So black swans were meant to be impossible. Nobody had seen them. They didn't exist. And yet somebody came to Western Australia and saw them for the first time and told people about it. They didn't believe it until they literally saw them themselves. And then we realize that things that we think are impossible sometimes are possible. Flying, impossible. Now we know it's possible. There are so many different things that seemed impossible that are possible, and we need to take that into consideration when we make our decisions. Okay, so that was chapter 88. Tomorrow, we might be reading chapter 89. I might be going to a bookshop later on and looking for a new book, because I actually also spoke to somebody who has been sued for sharing too much of a certain book. I think you're only allowed to officially share 60% of a book. So we'll have a look at whether we continue or whether we look for a new book. At any rate, I will be here again tomorrow morning. I'm actually traveling up to see my mother, so I'll have to leave very early if I want to do the live stream at 8. So wish me luck. I'll probably need to leave at around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to be able to make it on time, or I'll stop somewhere along the way and we can still do the live stream. So I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you want to watch replays of some of the readings and see some of the other videos that I am working on currently, or the ones that I've already made, you can go to the Passive Cash Flow Club, and we'd love to see you there. We also have a game of cash flow coming up this Tuesday. So get in touch with me on Instagram, and I can send you the details and get my VA to send you the details, because it probably won't be me. So you can find me on Instagram at business_team_6_official, and you can see what I'm up to. You can get in touch with me, send me a private message, and if you'd love to play online cash flow and learn the strategies of buying real estate, stocks, and businesses, then you're going to be able to have a really great time on Tuesday. We have a version that takes it to a whole new level. So if you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki's board game, there are only certain things that you can do, and there's only so much real life that you can simulate. In our version, you are going to be able to do a lot more and learn a lot more, and we have some really exciting things that we're going to share in the education section at the end, so that you can transport from the game on the board to playing the game in real life, because that is something that I am extremely passionate about. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all for that. Have an amazing day. Today's the first day of the week. Get into it. I know that Christmas is coming and New Year is coming, but because New Year is coming, this is when it's critical to start thinking about and planning for next year, because those New Year's resolutions don't work very well if you're not prepared. All of a sudden, you fall over, you eat that cookie, you don't follow that diet, you don't work on that business, you have a day that you're not doing so well. You need that plan, you need to structure it, and you need to set those goals now, so that when the new year comes, you can go at it full steam ahead. And if you do have like a kind of small little falter, then it's not really an issue. If you have that plan, it's going to hold you instead. So let's go out and work on all of our plans, yours and mine. Have a great week, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.